Hi. So we are live. Recording is in progress. So
Okay.
welcome again, Dr. Nkanga. I mean, on LinkedIn, I saw your name is Eno-Obong Nkanga, Dr. Eno-Obong Nkanga. And someone asked
Yeah.
me, are you sure it's not one name? I'm like, That's what I saw on LinkedIn also." So please tell me how to your full name, whether is it Eno-Obong separately or is it together?
It's actually one name, but
Okay.
I've always been very finicky about the hyphen.
Hmm.
Since I was little, I noticed the hyphen. I'm like, yes, not everybody gets to have a hyphenated name. So please, I would like my hyphens to
Okay,
appear
so
every
it's
time my name appears.
hyphenated.
It's actually
Eno
one name.
hyphen Obong.
Obong.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes, it's
Good.
one name. Eno-Obong Nkanga. Yes,
Yes.
that's me.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I mean, that's very helpful because when the episode is live, we'd like to, have the exact way your name is written. I'm very particular about my name. And when something is off, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm the one I'm seeing, but I don't think that's the name I go by.
Are you sure that's me? I don't want to be mislabeled. I mean, I could have a
No.
doppelganger that has a different name that is like that. So yes, I understand being finicky about one's name. I am about mine as well.
Okay, so we wouldn't mislabel you for the podcast. So I
All
wanted to
right.
tell you a bit more about this female body of mine, the podcast. It was started targeted towards West African women in particular and their health. Women are the backbone of majority of households and they carry a lot of decisions. Yet we know that there are many health issues that they have to, deal with or contend with. And these days, we access information online, we Google our symptoms readily. So this remote body of mine is to give pertinent and practical information. And we sit down with professionals, we sit down with everyday women discussing about issues that are not talked about as much as they should, and some issues that carry stigma along with them. And this today's episode with you is one that carries a lot of stigma, mental health. I mean, there are studies that have been said, like when uh doctors or psychiatrists are studying women, they come up with these disorders that even have connotations that have to do with woman in their labeling, like, oh, it's only women that can be crazy, or this woman, their minds are broken. And so when I was
Yes.
thinking about the theme for the podcast, I was thinking, okay, the mind of a woman, is it beautiful, bold, or fragile? Which one is it? And we're so, so happy that you could join us today as a mental health physician whose work has touched many lives, including mine. So we're here together to unpack what mental wellness means for West African women, especially the challenges that they face and practical steps that we can take. If a woman does not have access to seeing a trained physician who is specialist in mental health, what basic steps can they take right now to improve their mental health? So yes, that's where we're starting from today. So we're very happy to have you, Dr. Eno-Obong Nkanga, on this episode of This Female
Thank
Body of
you.
Mine. Welcome
Thank
again.
It's a privilege to be here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm always happy to have an opportunity to talk about mental health. It's not spoken about enough. So I'm very happy to be here.
I completely agree. And that's why, before we go into today's theme, I wanted to hear from you about, the person behind this expertise. Can you share your journey to becoming a mental health physician? What inspired you and the challenges and joys along the way?
What inspired me? I think it was just curiosity. We don't know enough. When first, I've always been fascinated by the brain and how it influences all of us. It's the seat of consciousness, awareness. It's the seat of everything. It controls everything else. including parts of ourselves that we're not even aware of, our heartbeat, our respiration, and all of that. I've always been curious about the brain right from when I was a child. But then when I got into medical school, about fourth year, we started clinical medicine, and then the mind became my focus then.
Okay.
And I don't think I've looked back since fourth year. It became one of my options. I always wanted to do cardiology, but then when I learned about the brain and the mind, I was like, okay, maybe we should focus more on this because everything we knew was about the populations in the West. There was nothing catered and curated to us as Africans, West Africans, Nigerians, young people of this era, so to speak, even though eras are being compressed right now. I mean, we can have so many eras
Generations.
coexisting, the millennials, the Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas. There was nothing curated to us specifically. Everything was for the Westerners, and we couldn't relate to some of the things we were reading in the texts. And I'm like, well, we don't know enough. Someone should find out more. Maybe I'm the someone who should find out more. And
Hmm.
so mental health became more attractive. So my first love was the brain and how it influences us. Then it narrowed down further towards the mind and mental health in general.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I'm also someone who is very fascinated with the brain. I like watching brain documentaries. So just to hear that that's also, one of the things that made you want to start this journey. And I like the fact that you mentioned the specificity about our region, because the fact that it works for a particular society does not mean it'll work. It's a one size fits all. I mean, West African women, we have our unique environment, we have our unique
Yeah,
set of challenges and routines, and how do we fit our health, into all that. So I think we'll get more into that in this episode. So
as
so
we go on.
yes, as we go on. So currently, where do you work?
I work at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital mainly, but
Okay.
I run several private practices on the
Right.
side. I also consult at Blue Gloves Hospital. I consult as well at Neon Healthcare Services here in Uyo. Those two places mainly. Initially I used to offer my own private time, but I realized I
Hmm.
should take my own advice and regulate, my life, create a better work-life balance. So University of Your Teaching Hospital, Blue Gloves Hospital, and Neon Healthcare Services here in Uyo.
Okay, and why I was interested in you sharing that is sometimes when we think about our mental health, the first thing someone says is, "Oh, you need therapy," or you need to see a psychiatrist. So how do you refer to yourself?
Okay, I refer to myself as a psychiatrist. People don't
Okay,
like that name. So I've had to
exactly.
soften it a little bit and say mental health physician. That sounded a little bit more palatable. But the reason why I don't use therapist is because it's a very broad label.
Hmm.
One can be a therapist if they are a clinical psychologist. And to be a clinical psychologist, you have to do a BSc in psychology, then do a
Okay.
master's in clinical psychology, and then a PhD. So that's one pathway. Now, there are people who are just counselors.
Hmm.
Maybe saying just sounds like I'm trivializing their role, but they play a very important role. That is what
Right.
they
I
are
mean, we had
trained for,
counselors in
guiding.
high school, in secondary school. We
Exactly.
had counselors.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So there are people who are trained for that. And as part of counseling, there could be some therapeutic effect to their
Right.
counseling. So they can function as therapists. So the
Therapist
reason why
too.
I don't
Okay.
say I am a therapist is
Mhm.
providing psychotherapy is a very small part of what I do.
Right.
Yes, it's just a part of what I do. There's a lot more a psychiatrist does. A psychiatrist is a physician, someone
Hmm.
who went to school, read medicine and surgery, decided to come out of medicine and surgery and subspecialize in psychiatry, mental health. So I am first a physician, then I am a mental health physician. So I get to prescribe drugs. I look at the individual holistically, not just in the mind, but how the rest of the mind, how the rest of the
Okay.
body can influence the mind and vice versa. How arrhythmias Those are
Mm.
abnormal rhythms in the heart, can induce anxiety in some people.
Okay.
How endocrine functions can also cause mental health problems in people. So maybe I might sound a little bit is narcissistic the word, or egoistical if I say we're more holistic.
Than therapy. No, I
Psychiatrists
mean
are
it is
more
it is what it is, and this topic about mental health and even the term for the trained physician in it is a taboo. It's if you tell someone, I can imagine, tell your employer in West Africa, I'm going to see my psychiatrist, immediately they'll
practice,
be
and
like,
they look at you like,
okay.
okay,
But if you say I'm
hello,
going to see my therapist, I'm going to the doctor,
therapist. It's
it has a
nicer, it's more
softer landing.
comfortable. Yes, like, oh,
Yeah.
that's fine. It's like, oh, kudos to you. And I'm like, okay.
So how can we
If
change
you
that
like,
conversation? I mean, how can we change the perception of you've gone through training for this and there's a huge need for it in our region. So is there
yes, there
something
is.
that can be done to the perception of I'm going to the psychiatrist is normal? In fact, if I don't go, I will not be normal at work. I need to go.
Well, I would say when it comes to society generally,
Mhm.
there are times where one has to bend, and there are times where one has to maintain what they believe in. At the
Okay.
core of it, it's not exclusive to West Africa or Nigeria or whatever region we are in sub-Saharan Africa. Even in the
Mm.
West, the term psychiatry is met with a lot of stigma, mistrust, distrust. And I understand perfectly why. The
Mm.
history of psychiatry, especially in the West and then in the Eastern region, Eastern Europe, is very murky. They've been used to control, label people as dissent, people who were against the government were called all sorts of things and locked up. So why I'm, moving around
Mhm.
this term is if we can provide people the help they need and they prefer to call it a label that is palatable to them, provide them the help they need. In the process of getting the help, they might come to realize that it's not so bad in labels. So if one wants to refer to me as a therapist, I do offer therapy. So I am a therapist for this person.
Mhm. You take it. You take that. As long
I'll
as
take
the person is getting that help.
as long as the person is getting better. But
Mm.
disabusing the minds of people concerning the term psychiatrist, therapist, it does nothing to help the individual at that point. So I'm not really going to hound someone who prefers to call me a therapist or who prefers to say they're going to see a therapist. What's important is, are you getting the help you need at
Mm.
that time? I would only step up when someone is being mistreated for using the right term. Like, okay, you're going to hound someone if they say they're going to see their psychiatrist. Like, oh, you are seeing a psychiatrist. Oh, there must be something really wrong with you. I will probably step in and say, there's something really wrong with you. And sometimes ignorance is incurable.
Okay. And I hope they will not complain that that's affecting their mental health because these days the mental
Then that
health
would open a
card
window for us
is
to be able
played.
to that open a windows for us to address things, because when it comes to mental health, the definition
Right.
for mental health, it's not about not having negative experiences. It's far from that.
Hmm.
When one talks about good mental health,
Okay.
it refers to the ability of one to cope with normal stressors of life. The WHO definition has four parts.
Okay.
You cope with normal stressors, emphasis on normal stressors. Some people would like to say day-to-day stressors. So the stress of waking up in the morning, battling traffic, battling road rage in traffic.
Hmm.
Yes, having a boss who does not like you,
That can be
you
very
know,
stressful.
that can be very stressful. But you would not always be in the office. You would be away from that stressor at some point. But then
Right.
having a boss who does not like you is a spectrum. There is a normal dislike and there is outright workplace bullying.
Mm.
What we're referring to is normal stressors. Just, oh, I stubbed my toe, or there was traffic today, or I skipped breakfast, or I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Those are normal stressors. They happen. These are negative experiences that are part of life. Just like happiness is an emotion,
Okay.
sadness is an emotion, and it is normal. It's expected. So one is expected to cope with normal stresses of life as part of a healthy mind.
Mm.
Other parts of the definition, I hope I'm not jumping the gun by going into that.
No, we
But
need the definition. We need it clearly defined. What is mental health and how can we say this person is well? Wellness with
yes, yes.
mental, yeah.
All right. So let me go on then. So apart from
Going
being able
through.
to cope with normal day-to-day stresses of life, this person should also be able to cope well with the demands of society on them. For instance, if it's a student, they should be able to learn well within their abilities because there's some people that are genius level smart.
That's true.
There are people that need a little bit more help, but they are working within their capabilities. There are also people who they never miss a deadline, but there are people who need help not to miss a deadline, but they are
Mm.
working within their capabilities. So they are able to work well or learn well. So cope with normal day-to-day stressors, work well, learn well, realize their potential. That's the third point
I
in the
like that.
WHO definition. Yes. At a lot of times, some people pass on and they don't know who they are. All they know is the label that was placed on them by parents, brothers, sisters, church members. So, do you like football? I used to watch football with my dad. I should like
Mm.
football.
But that
But
sense
do
of
you?
self not fully formed.
Yes. They never develop a sense of self or individual identity. They only
Mm.
have that which is thrust on them. And that's going to cause a lot of schisms within their minds. It's going to be a bedrock for mental health issues going
Mm.
forward. Then finally, they should be able to contribute to their society or community. So there's cope with normal day-to-day stressors. There's learn well or work well. There's actualize or discover or know their potential or who they are, and then
Mm.
contribute to the community. Now, when people think of contributing to the community, they think it has to be one big, wonderful thing. No, I mean, even a child, a baby, contributes to society. Let me elaborate a little bit on that if we have time. Let me
Go right
just
ahead.
a baby doesn't do much apart from feeding, sleeping, and pooping and crying. They don't. I mean, that's of little use to the society. But then the presence of a baby signifies potential,
That's
future.
true.
That is what that baby offers. That is the role that baby provides in the community. Apart from that, even for the parents, that joy, like, oh yes, I have a little one who gives us terrible facts, but still it's our little one. It's an intangible, it's an intangible thing, but that is the baby's contribution to the community, to the society. School children contribute to society. If there are no school children, there would be no need for preschool teachers and school teachers.
Right, because the whole system runs on that.
Yeah, so every single person at every stage in their life contributes to society. So to say one has good mental health or is mentally healthy, they're able to achieve these four things. And it doesn't stay static. It varies from day to day, depending on the context in which you exist at that point in society. There's some days we know ourselves better than other days. There are some days we are not sure what our role is.
Who am I?
Who
What's
am
my
I?
name?
But if it gets that bad, what's my name? I think we need to speak to someone. But there are
Mm.
some days our identity is more grounded. We're more grounded in our identity than in some other days. Perhaps we're hounded by stress, not
Right.
meeting certain roles,
Or a loss of
expectations. And
job.
yes, exactly.
Mm.
And identity shakes a little bit, but provided it's just a little bit, it's just a slight shift. It doesn't completely uproot us from our who we are. It's fine. So mental health exists on a spectrum along these four things: cope with normal day-to-day stresses, live well in the sense that you learn well or you work well, you achieve your potential, and you contribute to your society. Once those four things are met, this person is said to be mentally healthy. We could go further and list some other
And
things.
divide and break down the four.
Yes, and break
Yeah.
down the four. If we go down to the recognize one's potential, for instance, this
Mhm.
person should be able to, for you to know yourself, you should know the parts of you that are real and fantasy.
Okay. Like how I
I don't want
imagine
to
that
go.
I'm a beauty queen, or how I imagine I'm going to be an actress. Is that part of the fantasy too?
Yes, being mentally healthy allows us to engage in fantasy and reverie, and
Okay.
we know that it's fantasy and reverie.
Okay, it's all part of it. Thank you for just
Yes,
making sure that making me feel like that part of my life is okay.
yes, it is. The fact that
Daydreaming.
yes, beautiful daydream. That this is a daydream. This is fantasy. It might be
Hmm.
someone else's reality, but for me right now, it's something I enjoy. I like thinking about. I enjoy this. It becomes a problem when you begin to think that it is true.
Okay.
It is as real as the greenery behind me.
Okay.
But you are very beautiful, so you could win a,
Thank
a
you.
beauty
I could win a
contest.
beauty contest. I think it's more about the money and the trip. The trips they go for that I'm looking for, not that.
Yeah. So if for instance, I might be digressing too much to give examples. If I am,
Okay.
please call rein me back in. If
Okay.
someone has a fantasy that man he's going to be on par with Elon Musk when it
Okay.
comes to his financial resources, and we know
Hmm.
that he probably just works for uh
A bank.
he works as a private school teacher.
Okay, teacher.
Let's say he works as a private school teacher and that is his only source of income. He has nothing on the side.
Hmm.
And he's not just fantasizing about that. It is real to him that he walks around telling
Hmm.
everybody that Elon Musk is his boy. We
Okay.
have left the line of fantasy and reverie and we've entered into the realm of delusions. And that's where
Okay.
I come in
Wow. Okay.
quickly.
All right. Because many people throw that word around and say, okay, this person is delusional. But now we have now seen that it's about to get real once you
It's about
become
area.
delusional. Okay. And
Yes.
and and I can imagine the conversations that will go on with you and the person, and helping the person to understand the difference if the person wants
Yeah.
to help. Yeah.
Sometimes it could be so, in fact, once a delusion is formed,
Hmm.
psychotherapy does little or nothing. It has to be um, pharmacotherapy. We have to come in with medications to help these individuals because brain chemicals have changed and a
Hmm.
lot. It's serious. It's a big deal. It's very very serious. You know.
Wow.
So anyway, over
So
to you.
no, we're just going to pause right here, and then I would restart so that we
Okay.
can talk more about the community and at what time in our community should we, start talking about mental health. So
Okay.
we'll
Yes.
be
Yes.
back.
Please.
Okay.
Yes. I do tend to get carried away.
No, no, it's okay. I want to talk about our communities. Like in our communities, when should women have mental health checks? When should we start talking about mental health? Because most times people wait until there's a crisis and then that's when they come to you. So when should women begin mental health checks?
Well, since we're focusing on women, I'll say women. But earlier on in our conversation, it just passed through the concept of counselors in school. We used to have counselors in secondary school
Right.
then. So if we're talking chronologically, age-wise, the
Hmm.
adolescent period is a period of high stress for a lot of people, more so females. Well, maybe I'm biased by saying more so females,
Hmm.
but women,
I mean, there's a lot of changes
young women,
going on in
lots of
women at
changes
that
going
time,
on.
girls.
Yeah, and then newfound interests, attention,
Hmm.
sometimes unwanted, a lot of times unwanted predators, grooming people, sense of identity not established yet. So I would say chronologically, early adulthood, adolescents, teenagers, preteens, in fact, they should have access to mental health services in schools. But I don't think we have counselors available as readily as they were, perhaps when maybe you and I were at that age. But if we're talking about women who are established living life, at one point within myself, should I seek out mental health care? Prevention is always best.
Okay.
And preventing crisis does not need a mental health professional.
Hmm.
It just requires a sense of self-awareness,
Right.
which some people have in large amounts, and some people
Hmm.
have a very negligible amount of self-awareness. But if we all are honest with ourselves, we can tell when we need to see someone. And I would give examples, and I don't think I'll be able to exhaust all the possibilities, but I would just give examples. I like to start with biological things. Biological things, I refer to things like sleep,
Mm-hmm.
mood, appetite,
Hmm.
libido. Those are
Hmm.
biological. So by the time we realize we're not sleeping as well as we
We should,
used
or
to.
we used to.
Yes. And the reason why I say used to is I have met very interesting people, Ma. Like I've met people who run on 4 hours.
I know. I mean, I read the other day Ronaldo takes what, like 90-minute naps?
As well. He's the Sue. He's Ronaldo.
I can't do that.
He's the GOAT. Good for him. He has a
Hmm.
team of professionals
He
who
does.
are at his beck and call should anything go south. So, but I've met people who run on 4 hours and they're fine on four
Hmm.
hours. I've met people who run on 10 hours. And if they get anything less than 10, there will be
The
crisis.
problem. I think I'm in
So
that
that's why
camp.
I said, that's why
Hmm.
I said less than they are used to.
Yes, too.
So by the time one begins to notice changes in their sleeping pattern, very rarely, sometimes atypical depression could present as sleeping a lot more than usual.
Okay.
But changes in sleep, changes in appetite, some people might even
Hmm.
welcome a change in appetite. I'm going to eat less now. I don't have the appetite to eat. So I might probably watch my waistline better with this new symptom of mine. But then it's a problem. You should seek out help at that
Help.
time and seek out help with a GP.
Hmm.
The GP would be the one to screen you towards mental health if need be or other things. Now, away from the biological things, let's now go to the psychological things.
Okay.
When we begin to notice undue worry, undue in
Hmm.
capital letters,
But
because
what if we're
worry
always
is
worrying? Team always
now
worrying.
constant worry. is also something that should prompt seeking help.
Okay, all right. Hmm.
Undue worry and constant worry, I think constant can also come under the umbrella of undue, because if you're constantly worried, your mind would not be at peace. You should seek out help then. Also, by the time people begin to have strange experiences, having their thoughts read out to them, like a newscaster, hearing strange voices, seeing strange things. It's a
Hmm.
prompt. That is
I mean, isn't that a
where
crisis? I would call that a crisis already.
that is a crisis. That is
Yeah.
a crisis. That is what we refer to as psychosis. When an individual begins to have strange experiences, like hallucinatory experiences and all that. Did you lose your earpiece? Sorry. Okay. So undue worry, intrusive thoughts. Are we together?
Okay, I can hear you now. I lost my headset for a second.
Yes,
Fix
yes. I
that.
noticed your had fallen out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We're together now.
We were together.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So I was like, undue worry, a mood that is constantly low and
Hmm.
doesn't improve with change in context. For instance, if I was feeling sad because I woke up on the wrong side of the bed and my phone beeps and somebody just sends me, it doesn't even have to be a big amount. I just need to see the green.
That's my life.
There's going to be a
It'll be
slight
the
improvement,
money.
at least at the very least, a slight
Mhm.
improvement in my mood. That
Hmm.
is fine. That is normal. But you can have people who, despite that, there's no improvement in the mood. It stays
Mhm.
very low. There's nothing that can improve their mood, nothing that can make things better. They should seek out mental health care then. So hearing or seeing strange things, believing strange things, remember the delusion we talked
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
undue worry, mood changes that are not in keeping with the environmental and psychological context.
Hmm.
You know, so the person is constantly sad, nothing improves the mood, or the person is constantly excited.
Okay.
Can also be a problem because people think that, oh, it's only negative
This is a
emotions that
happy
when they are there
person.
for a long time, they're a problem. But positive emotions like happiness and euphoria are meant to be transient, just like every other emotion. They are not meant to
Mhm.
be there all the time. We're not wired to be constantly happy. It's not
Hmm.
normal. So you have
Hmm.
someone who is excited, impulsive, sudden changes, poor in their behavior, someone who used to be very, what's the word now I would use? Before they make a move, they plan their day, suddenly wakes up and, oh, yes, I think I'm going to buy a new car. Calm down, take a breather. That's not how we do things here. So sudden changes
Right.
in behavior, impulsivity, undue excitedness, irritability. And irritability is a tendency to annoyance. That's not normal. We should seek
Okay.
out care then. But if it is preventing mental health care, you don't need me. You just need the skills.
Okay.
That's also what can we do in our environment to prevent us from having mental health symptoms in the first place? The same
I
way we would
mean,
approach.
okay, sorry. Sorry, I was thinking about the irritability part because I know
Okay, yes,
that
please.
I know that
Let's
some of us grew up in households like maybe just when you cross, maybe you have a neighbor, a family member that is like I'm just like always angry and you just try to avoid the person. And now that,
yeah.
I don't think I've thought about that as being, a warning sign, a red flag if someone
Oh,
is
it is.
always just not in a good mood. Like I
Yes, like
mean, the
you
way we
cannot.
preserve
The concept
ourselves is we just
is to
avoid the
stay with.
person. Yeah, just stay away from the person. This person's just not a happy person, and doesn't like seeing me happy, because I don't know whether it's personal or, there's that. So Yeah, thank you for, I
So
mean, mentioning that as a
yes,
sign.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's. I don't want to give labels because what I've realized about the world these days is everybody self-diagnosis, and
Oh, that's
that's
true.
not that's not
Mm.
healthy. So by the time I begin to give names of conditions where you could have irritability, like, oh yes, that person's probably bipolar, or that person probably has like
Like you diagnose someone instantly.
no, it doesn't work
But
like that.
I mean, you've been practicing for some time. So what common issues have you seen affecting women, especially mental health issues are common
In our environment,
in our environment, exactly.
anxiety
Anxiety.
and depression.
Hmm.
Anxiety, depression. It's almost, I mean, if I see 10 women
Hmm.
in a day, eight of them come with anxiety or depression. The other
Hmm.
two are having psychosis.
Hmm.
Sometimes of the eight that are having anxiety or depression, some of them could be having anxiety and depression together.
Okay.
So depression and anxiety are very, very common amongst women globally, but even more so in our environment.
Now, do you think it is because of, I mean, I mean, I don't want to jump into a conclusion here, but do you think it's because it's stressful living environment? But what do you think fuels this anxiety and depression?
You see, when it comes to um, what causes mental health conditions,
Hmm.
we cannot take away the environment.
Okay.
Mental health disorders, just like other physical disorders, eh, they're a product of a meeting point between nature and nurture.
Right.
Nurture refers to the influence of the environment, people, the resources around which you grew up, and all of that, and how they influenced you. And nature refers to things like your genes and epigenetic changes you might be having as a result of your environment. So, mental health conditions arise where both nurture and nature meet.
Okay.
So, we cannot isolate the hostility of the Nigerian environment.
I mean, NEPA alone is enough to create anxiety,
NEPA
like
alone, or Fed, I think that's what they call them now,
a
Fed,
PhD.
yes, PhD. You cannot isolate the environmental
Hmm.
influence
Hmm.
on our mental health.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous when I hear biological psychiatrists talk about biological psychiatrists are my colleagues who believe that all mental health conditions arise simply as a result of this person's genetic predisposition.
Hmm.
If this person is not having this condition now, they will have it in the future. And I'm like, yes, that's for you guys over there in Sweden or Norway or some other Scandinavian country where all your needs are met and you've never seen your light bulb flicker before.
Hmm.
But I've seen my light bulb go out for weeks and stay
And you
off
and you
for
know you
weeks
have to keep a household running, you just
running.
cooked
Just
soup and stew, and that was supposed to last for weeks.
for weeks and it can't keep. And then there's the anxiety with the scarcity of resources. So when it comes to our environment, the environment is a stressor. It can
Hmm.
be a perpetuating factor, it can be a precipitating factor, it can be a predisposing factor for mental illness. Predisposing laying means it's laying the groundwork for someone to have mental illness. Perpetuating it is further exacerbating this person's stress.
Hmm. Hmm. And right now, I'm just going to give us a second for the network to come back. So I don't know if you can hear me, Dr. Nkanga, but if you
Tipping
can
women.
just okay, sorry, there was a lag. It says my
Oh,
my
there
my
was.
internet, yes. But no, now you're back fully. Now you're
Okay.
back.
Um, where
But
was I cut off?
you you were talking about how to stress from the environment, fuels the anxiety.
Yeah.
But when you said that, it got me thinking about the opposites. And I know that this Female Body of Mind podcast focuses on women, and women bear a lot of the day-to-day running the operation. So that anxiety is fueled when things are not supposed to work as well. But it also got me thinking about the opposite. This time I'm thinking for men, right? If anxiety and depression are the two most common issues, mental health issues that you see. So what about the men? Because are they still facing the anxiety? I mean, they don't have to worry about, is this soup going to spoil if there's no electricity? So what are the common issues the men are facing then? We'll give
Well,
them this few
commonly,
seconds.
well, yes, we'll just give it to the men,
Yeah.
just for a few minutes or seconds. Anxiety and depression are common in men, but I don't get to see them at face value. Each time I see a man who the let me use the same method I use for women. If I see 10 men, if I see
Mhm.
10 men in clinic, 6 out of the 10 have substance use disorders.
Okay.
Then 2 would have psychosis, and then another 2 would have
Hmm.
plain mood disorders. Now, if I take the 6 out of 10 who have substance use disorders, underneath the substance use disorders lies anxiety and depression.
And I was going to say, because if you're using substances, that means that's a coping mechanism. So what are you trying to cope
Yes,
with? So it's still the same.
exactly.
We still have the same anxiety and depression both ways going
Yes,
on.
both ways.
Just maybe the
Yes.
source of the anxiety will be different.
Yes, it varies. It's different for men than it is for women because our roles, especially in our environments, are different.
Right.
For instance,
Right.
a typical West African Nigerian woman is
Mhm.
expected to keep her home running. They'll say the woman is responsible for keeping the home. At the same time, in today's world, she's also expected to provide an income. And at the same time, she's expected to provide an income and run the home by herself.
Hmm.
And they would say, our mothers in time past, what I've realized is if they ask those mothers and the mothers answer honestly, the mothers would tell them that they're the ones advising the younger women to make sure you have your own money, make sure you have your own thing, because
Because
I
they know
didn't
what their
have the
eyes have
opportunity.
seen.
Because yes, exactly. They know what their eyes have seen and their ears have heard. And unfortunately, in some
Hmm.
cases, what their bodies have felt.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, so
Hmm.
there's now an unrealistic expectation for today's woman
Hmm.
to be a traditional woman and a modern woman at the same time. And it cannot work. It's unrealistic. Our African society was a communal one. If I understand how most societies operated, there was indeed a village.
Right.
The village wasn't just about some ikat somewhere or
Hmm.
some um known somewhere. It was a community. Women had their own
Like support.
societies and support. Sometimes, actually, a lot of times, it doesn't even matter the socioeconomic strata of that family. If a woman is getting married, she's sent to her home with a help,
Hmm. Hmm.
a little person
Isn't
who
isn't
would.
that nice? Yeah.
Well, should we open that?
No, I mean, I'm just imagining you get married, get help. You have a child, you get three more helps. Wow. Life is
Yes,
beautiful.
yes. I've
Hmm.
seen I've seen it said over and over by the time I talk to older women
Mhm.
that, oh, this was the person who raised me, or even my mom who say, oh, this is your nanny. I'm like, I had a nanny. I
Mhm.
had a nanny. I can't afford a nanny
But
for each
But
child.
it happened in Bible times though. That was part
Yes,
of the, yeah, as you're getting married, you got
married.
sent off with a nurse.
They'll- Yes, with a nurse. And this person was part of the household.
Hmm.
Now, because of
Yes.
society's, should I say, decay,
Hmm.
people are now more cautious about
Hmm.
practicing that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what if this person goes and they're abused or and all of that?
Hmm.
So they'll be more cautious. People are
Hmm.
even more cautious in receiving help like that. Okay, what if I bring in an agent of destruction into my
I mean,
home
that's
dynamic?
another source of anxiety. Huh?
That's
And then
anxiety,
you say, you know what, I will just cope, I will manage. It's better to
I will
have
just
bad
cope.
help than no help. Better to have no help, sorry, than bad help.
No help than bad
Yeah,
help. So we find that the things that eventually affect our health, because there's no health without mental health,
that's true.
are not just within the society decaying and crumbling and morals decaying comes down to bite us in the rear.
Hmm. Hmm.
So today's woman trying to earn an income, trying to have a career, which is wonderful. I advocate for that.
We love having a career. Doesn't
Love
mean
it.
doesn't have its drawbacks, but we love having something we're
We
working
love it,
towards.
and raise a family. And of course, um, every time I hear this expression, it makes me laugh. Cater to her husband. Is he invalid?
And then Beyonce had
But
to go and sing Cater to You, but it's okay.
so the demands on women in our environment are
More.
ridiculous.
Yeah, more.
Yes, they're a lot more than men, and they are of a different flavor because people are expecting you to do all these things, but you are considered less.
Hmm.
It's different if you're expected to do all these things and you are honored or
Equal on
celebrated
par.
or at least seen as equal, but then you are considered less.
Hmm.
So you do much of the dirty work, you do much of the
Hmm.
unpaid labor, because the truth is, if you take a housewife, what she does is unpaid labor.
Yes, if you're going to pay for all
If
of
you were to
that,
outsource,
it would be a lot.
you would pay, yes, heavily for
Hmm.
that. But then it is seen as something less. They'll tell you, oh, come on, housewife. Like it's not a job. It's
Hmm.
a job. You don't have to diminish her value simply because she's a woman. So there's the issue of gender inequality. And of course, if she's less, the resources are going to be less. The pay, I never believed in the pay gap until I saw it.
Hmm.
It exists
Hmm.
and it's real.
Very real.
So
So I mean,
the
we've
stress
yeah. Go ahead.
the stress on women is disproportionately more than men. Men might not agree, but that is the truth.
Yes, and
It
that
is.
was why I wanted us to talk about the so no, I wouldn't say solutions, but good ways to cope. Now that we've seen, I mean, women come from diverse backgrounds. Maybe some may be able to afford to see a physician like yourself who can help them. Some don't have these funds, but what are some simple practices? What are some simple things that women can start today to help manage these big stressors, anxiety and depression that you have seen happen? Recur over and over again in your clinics?
One of the ways, or the bedrock of it all, is some degree of selfishness.
Okay.
Every solution I'm going to
I didn't expect that. So, number one simple practice, be selfish. Wow. That goes contrary to every single thing that I
that's
have been taught.
implication, but it would
But please,
require some
please say
degree of
more. Say
selfishness.
more. Yes.
Yes, because every single thing
Hmm.
that would be required to support your good mental health requires you to think about self and to
First.
prioritize self
Hmm.
because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
That's
Now, you're not
true.
prioritizing self because you consider yourself more important than the next person,
Mm-hmm.
or but you're prioritizing yourself so you can be the best version of yourself
Okay.
to serve. So practically, day-to-day life, how do we start? First of all, whether you are unmarried or married or have a bunch of little people running around you,
Mm.
you should always, within the best of your ability, start your day with structure.
Even if it's
Because
drinking
if
a
you can
cup of
create a
water.
structure in your mind,
Okay.
sorry?
And even if it's drink, when you say structure, like a to-do list, or I know I'm drinking a cup of water, like when you say structure, what do you mean
Yeah, when,
in
when, when
this
I say
term?
structure, I'm like, this is what I'm going to do today. A to-do list is an example. Yes. This is what I'm going to do today.
Okay.
With some leeway, it shouldn't have to be strict. It shouldn't have to be
Mm-hmm.
rigid. Because if you make it rigid, it's going to be a source of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
set
true.
realistic goals for the day. Like, okay, there are some things that are going definitely out of your control. For those who do school runs, it's given, it's constant. I'm going to do school
Non-negotiable.
run, non-negotiable. Those who go to work, non-negotiable. So when I wake up in the morning, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. That allows us to manage time better. That allows us to recognize the things that are within our circle of control, within our circle of
Mm.
influence, and completely out of our control. And that, knowing that, allows us to allocate time and prioritize what is important and what is
Mm.
not. So when we say structure, we have to do an inventory of what it is our typical day looks like, and then prioritize them. What are the things that can, if I don't do them, nothing will happen. I will not
Okay.
crumble. I will not turn to salt. The house will would not combust. And then they are bottom priority. What are the
Mm.
things that need to keep this house going? If they're not done, the house may combust.
Mm.
Top priority. So start the day with that structure in mind. So because I'm not a fan of the to-do list. It can
Mm-hmm.
be a source of anxiety for some people.
Yeah,
Some
for
of us
sure.
are quite, if we give ourselves something to do and for whatever reason we don't do it, it haunts us
Mm-hmm. Becomes
so
a
much we
problem.
can't even sleep.
Yeah.
So do an inventory, create a priority list,
Mm.
and approach your day with that. Top priority address. That is the front burner. Anything else that's not top priority will be attended to as the need arises or if it is important at all. This allows us not have guilt for not doing for some things. So start your day with structure. That's actually what I mean by structure. For those who
Okay.
can have a to-do list that and they don't beat themselves up for not doing everything on it, good, you can do a to-do list. But for those of us who would beat ourselves up for not ticking all
Please stay
the,
away.
please stay away from a to-do list and just approach things based on how important they are to the running of your life
Hmm.
and your household as it matters. Then, two, internally, don't believe everything you think.
Hmm.
Don't believe yourself all the time. Sometimes we can catastrophize, especially people who have experienced trauma, complex PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It doesn't come as a catastrophic breaking down. It comes as little changes in how we live our lives. We might tend to catastrophize tiny experiences. For instance, if we wake up and we stub our toe, we go like, oh, today is a bad day.
Yeah.
Don't believe yourself when you think like
Mm-hmm.
that. So don't
Mm.
believe everything you think about.
I'm a bad
I stubbed my
person
toe at
because
least.
you did something
Oh,
that I
thing,
know. Maybe
yes.
you didn't pick someone's call. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I missed this person's call. Oh God, I'm such a terrible person. No, you're just a human being. You're not any more than a
Mm.
human being. You're just a person, So don't always believe what you are thinking. Then biologically, because I like to come back to the biological part.
Important.
Biologically, the same approach we would give to taking care of our cardiovascular health,
Mm-hmm.
our skin health, our liver, our gut is the same approach we would apply in our mental health. We must sleep that sleep. The sleep is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep is very, very important. Your normal routine for sleeping should be respected. We advocate 7 to 8 hours for adults. Some people who function on less. For you to say you have been functioning on less, you have been sleeping like that since you can remember secondary school.
Yeah, we can't do anything about that now, but
If it suddenly changed in adulthood, that might have been the start of a little shift in your psychological health.
okay.
Eat a balanced diet. There have been vitamin deficiencies that are responsible for depression. Vitamin B.
Yeah.
So a balanced diet is very, very important. Stay hydrated. Exercise. Exercise doesn't have to be joining in the gym. It doesn't have to be lifting weights. It doesn't have to be something elaborate. In fact, one of my favorite forms of exercise to recommend are evening strolls. Why? Because you're
What?
exercising both your body and your mind. It allows you to relax. And the reason why I like evening strolls is you could use it as a form of relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
You should be walking at such a pace that you can't make conversation, brisk walking.
Okay.
If you're able to gist while you're talking, then you're not walking briskly. So
Like
by the time
listen
you're
to
walking
neighbors.
briskly, your mind is blank. And you're trying to put yourself in a position where, am I doing it right? Not only are you helping your cardiovascular health, because
Mm-hmm.
once you help your cardiovascular health, there's increased blood flow to your brain. You think better, your mind is clearer, but then you rid yourself of all the intrusive thoughts. They won't have the luxury of
Mm.
poking themselves into your consciousness because you're focusing on walking briskly. And then you'll be breathing deeper. So evening strolls, exercise. So a balanced diet, hydration, sleep, exercise. Then a community, build your own village. We can get the community from peer support group, maybe at work. Or there's something I've realized that is detrimental to our mental health, no matter how we twist it or euphemize it. Me, I like to do my own thing on my own. No, I don't like. This is why I don't like interacting with people. No, 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 no,
That's
no, no,
true.
no. We can form a community based on faith, common interests. Book clubs are not very common here, but I have seen a few. Let's leave a book club. How about the market woman who is who's doing her petty trading? They have organizations
Right.
over there, small. I'm not sure what they're called, but they have their groups, their
Market women
women groups.
associations. Yeah.
Yes, Market Women Association. Even within the grand Market Women Association, there are smaller ones too.
Okay.
We should make our own village. There would always be people who are untrustworthy, but there will always be people who are trustworthy. It is a delusional level of reasoning to think that you are the only trustworthy person.
Hmm.
It's a
That's a
grandiose
sign
delusion.
that we should check if you believe so.
So we should build a community, a village, and it takes time to find one trustworthy, but it is worth the investment. We were not designed to do life alone. A community based on faith, a community based on our jobs, our trade, our careers. Build one. Find one, build one. It is far more helpful than we can even articulate. You can't
Right.
overemphasize it. So appetite, a balanced diet, sleep, please advocate 7 to 8 hours for an adult as much as you can, as much as your career allows you to. Exercise, even if it's a simple strolling in the evening, please let us do it. It's very
Yeah. Brisk
helpful.
walk, get it in.
And we have to practice the selfishness this time in
Mm.
proper selfishness. Steal some parts of the day for yourself. If it's early in the morning, and still 20 minutes, and still 10 minutes before the
Mm.
hustle and bustle of everybody running around
Yes.
trying to get this done. And you can either use it for meditation, for those who can meditate, for prayers, for those who pray, for maybe stealing a few pages of a romance novel.
Mm.
That time is for you. It's yours. It doesn't belong to anybody else. So that's why I started with selfishness.
No, I mean,
Because all
I
of this
like that
require
start.
you
Yes. I was
to be
thinking of
self.
maybe you say breathing techniques. Yeah, like selfishness.
The breathing techniques do have their place.
Yeah.
They do have their place, especially with people who might be battling with intrusive thoughts,
Mm.
panic attacks, and severe bouts, paralyzing bouts of anxiety.
Mm.
Breathing exercises help. Grounding exercises help. They can be practiced at any time in the day. Not that 10, 15 minutes that we're stealing from the 24 for ourselves,
Right.
from the
Right.
24 hours. They can be practiced anytime during the day. They can practice while you're cooking. They can be practiced, while you're getting dressed. They can be practiced while you're having your shower. They can be practiced anytime. Breathing exercises can be done. That's the beauty of that. But so I don't know if steal is the right word, but I would encourage it. That is the only form of stealing I would encourage. Please steal some time for yourself, either in the mornings or while you're winding down. But I prefer in the mornings because most times you're up and then your mind is clear.
And
There's nothing else that
fresh
sips
start.
in. Still, if yes, you're just fresh, your mind is fresh, and still a few minutes for yourself.
Yeah.
Pray if you're
Thank
one who
you.
prays. And yeah, you're welcome.
I
You're
mean,
welcome.
those tips are very helpful. I learned a lot of new things, and thank you for sharing, your wisdom with us today. I know for a certainty that many people listening to this episode will have questions, and we will be coming back for a part two. But I like this fact that we can start this conversation and people can know that it's not a stigma that they have to carry around. Nothing is wrong with you. It's just something that we have to work with as things get more stressful during the times that we're living with. So thank you so much, Dr. Nkanga, for your time. Please continue to stay well yourself. I know that you too prioritize your mental health, and thank you for all the tips that you shared with us today. Very much appreciated.
You're welcome. I'm very open to questions. I'm overly passionate about advocating for mental health. So forgive me if I got carried away sometimes, but
No, not at all. Not at all. We enjoyed it all. We enjoyed it all. Thank you.
it's
Thank
always
you
a
so
pleasure
much.
speaking to you.
Thank
But
you. So,
have a